Okay. 9. All right. So we good. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. It is Lavon McMillan, the founder and CEO of Advocate for Me LLC and the Advocate for Me podcast. I know it's been a while. It's been more than a while. It has been life has been life, like really seriously. So first, I want to say thank you for all your prayers and your encouraging words as I went through these last few challenging months of the loss of my mother and my younger brother on my dad's side. And trust me, I got all your messages, I got all your text messages, emails, everything. So thank you to my village for supporting me and giving me encouragement during this time. So I did take a break from the podcast. And so we are actually here because I took a break, but I didn't stop. And so that's definitely what Moms Thrive On is about. It's still pushing through and not just surviving, but thriving through life, through challenges, through everything that may come your way. And so we're here today because I'm so excited. We're launching our Moms Thrive On anthology book. And you guys heard me talk about it and mention it here and there throughout the podcast. And so we're here. And so we put it out there in the atmosphere, and we had 5 amazing moms say yes. And so they are here today so they can tell you what their chapter is about in the anthology book and their experience with working with me and the Moms Thrive On anthology book. So, first, we're going to go through introductions. And so, first up is Jenny. Jenny, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi everybody, my name's Jenny Negvatel. I live in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, Australia. I have 3 children. So I have a daughter, Kate, and our twin boys, Ryan and Zach, are on the autism spectrum. They're level 3, non-verbal, and have an intellectual delay. So they have provided lots of challenges for us over the years. And one of the challenges I wrote about in my chapter was their aggressive behaviour, their lack of interest in social engagement, and how this affected us as a family. And then how that also gave me an opportunity to thrive because I have set up a business where I work with early childhood educators and families to learn more about autism and how they can best support the people in their lives that have autism.
Thank you, Jenny. Next, Evelyn. Great. Laverne, you able to join us real quick?
Hi, everybody. I'm Laverne Cheeseborough. And I'm here in Philadelphia. I'm an early childhood educator, but I also have 2 sons. They are 31 and 26. My 26-year-old was born at 28 weeks, and my 31-year-old was born at 32 weeks. But he is the one who had the most struggles. And so me doing this anthology just basically is to encourage mothers that in spite of the different challenges and stuff that you may go through and experience over time, you can overcome them and get through them and survive and be the thriving mom and the thriving child that you desire and manifest through your life.
Awesome. Thank you. And also, we have Sakina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sakina J. You just want me to, who am I? Is that what we're doing here?
Yes, just your name, if you have a business, and then a tidbit of what your chapter was about, just a short version.
So, again, like I stated, my name is Sakina J. I am the CEO and founder of I Choose Me Enterprises, where I help women restore and rebuild their lives after domestic violence. Also, a 4-time best-selling author now. I am a speaker, soon to be international speaker. And I am also an autism mom. So with my chapter, I just take people on a journey of how it was to find out I was pregnant after 14 years of having one child for 14 years to then being blessed with twins and just the emotional roller coaster I had to go on from being excited about being a new mom to then getting hit with the fact that not one, but both of them had level 2 autism and were nonverbal. So just allowing myself to be vulnerable and letting other moms know, like, you're not alone. You feeling like you may have done something wrong during your pregnancy, or how could this have happened? All those different questions that go through your head, that you're not alone, but with my faith in God and just, my resilience and just keep moving to help other women, like, know, like, you're not by yourself. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Sakina. So we're going to get started with the interview. So we're going to go in the same order that we did introductions. So as I ask the question is open to everyone. And then we'll go through everyone answering the question, and then we'll go to the next one. So I know when I presented this to a lot of moms, they were so excited about this book, this anthology book being available to them for allowing them to share their story. So Moms Thrive On is an anthology book for neurodivergent moms who are sharing their story and telling the world that you can thrive. Like, I know Sakina briefly talked about how in the beginning it's like, oh my goodness, like, how could this happen to me? What did I do wrong? But I think God picks his most important VIPs to do this journey. And so we don't take it lightly, and we make sure that we're doing the best that we can for our family, but not only our family, because as you can hear everyone say that it actually pushed them to start either their own business or to build a community so that no one else felt alone. And so under Advocate for Me, our umbrella is that we offer resources, advocacy, and training. And so I God put this on my heart to come out with this book. Not only with the book, but he actually gave me the title Moms Thrive On, so that it would be a community for moms to come and just talk and vent and have other moms listen to you. And so this book is definitely a blessing for others, but it's also me being obedient to what he asked me to do, because as I told y'all before, life was life, and then I wanted to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. And but here we are, and I pushed through. And so I thank you all for being part of the journey. We have one other author who's not able to join us right now, Marjorie, and how she shared her story in the anthology book as well. So I just wanted to shout her out. So the first question is, what sparked your interest to be a part of the anthology book? So, Jenny, you can go first.
I guess it's your enthusiasm, Lavon. You were just so excited about it. I have also contributed to another anthology, and that was probably a story more about what it was like to receive the diagnosis. And this opportunity gave me, I could say, a bit more. I'm always aware that talking about our children being aggressive is sometimes parents feel a lot of shame about it. We had our house, our walls were just full of holes. We just had these huge pieces of cardboard, covering these holes, and we couldn't really get it fixed until our boys moved out into supported accommodation, because they would just continue to make holes in the wall when they were escalated. It was an opportunity to, I guess, highlight that so that other parents understood. But it was also probably very selfish that it was an opportunity for me to speak about that as well and get through my, I guess, embarrassment and concern that people would think I was a bad parent because these things were happening. So it's probably both professional and personal that I was interested in being part of this anthology, but it was certainly just your enthusiasm that pulled me in, and the purpose that you have, so that, yes, we can all help support other families.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. Evelyn? Yes, I know Evelyn's mom, and she is so there. I love her. But yeah, it was funny. Evelyn was talking, and then she kept talking. And I'm like her, like, this sounds familiar. And when she said her mom name, I wasn't playing around when I screamed on the screen when she said it, but I screamed at the please touch me. I was like, oh my God, I love her. Her mother is a praying woman. And so when I was going through some trying times, she prayed for me, got me through. So I definitely love her mom. So shout out to Miss Shirley. So Laverne, are you able to join us real quick? So the question was, what sparked your interest to be a part of the book? All right, I'll come back to Laverne. I'm not sure if she's able to unmute. Sakina.
So, what, first off, what sparked my interest was not only do I love you, and I was already on my own personal journey when it came to advocating for autism. So when you came to me about being on the anthology, I'm like, I always do this every time. I'll be like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I mean, I've written and I've been in like six anthologies, right? So, but I always do this. I'm like, I don't know. Is that a story I'm ready to tell? And then I sat there and I thought, and I'm like, okay, well, I do Twin Tuesdays, right? And I'm already letting people in my world with my children that are on the spectrum. Like, I could reach so many more people if I wrote about it. And so I jumped on board just because I just really enjoy advocating for my children and for other families. And by me doing my Twin Tuesdays, I get phone calls left and right from people inboxing me, hey, I got a girlfriend who needs to talk to you. She's stressing out. She got a kid that just got diagnosed. So I'm constantly getting a lot of people reaching out to me, and that's just solely based on my Twin Tuesdays that I post. And so for me, I just felt like here's another way I can reach so many people. Because ultimately, when you hear about autism, you hear about not only little boys, but you very seldomly hear about twins with it. And I feel like a lot of twin moms don't, I mean, there's a whole Facebook group and everything for us, but not a lot of them are speaking out about it. There's parents that got twins and triplets that are on the spectrum that don't speak about their experience. So I figured maybe if I speak about my experience and I understand and I can empathize with the next mom who has double the physical therapist, double the special instructor, double the ABA therapist, double the speech therapist. Like literally, each child needs their own therapist, right? So it's like double the work for everything. And so I just really wanted to be a part of the book project to just advocate and to let these women know like you're not alone, like even with multiples, like we got this, we can thrive beyond the diagnosis and we can definitely beat the odds. So that's the reason why I joined the book project.
Thank you, thank you. And she's my
You're
sister
welcome.
friend. So, Laverne, you able to answer?
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. So
No, you're fine.
I don't even remember how we met, but I know we did a podcast talking about business, my businesses and stuff, and me being an advocate. And so I there was an email that I received, and then we were at a snow grow with snow event, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna be a part of this. And even in the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know how I can be a part of this because I don't have any neurodivergent children, but what I do know is that my son was misdiagnosed. And so, because of that, and because of the research and stuff that I did on my own, I do know that he had some of those issues and stuff that they just weren't diagnosed. And as he became an adult, it was harder to diagnose him properly. So he began to be diagnosed with the symptoms and not the issue. So me coming on here is really because at the end of the day, we have to learn how to thrive, whether we have a diagnosis or not, through these family things and stuff that we deal with our children and stuff, and knowing how they use ways to cope and stuff, especially as an adult. So I was very encouraged to join once I realized like I don't have to have an actual diagnosis to be a part of this community and to encourage and inspire other mothers and family members, caregivers in general.
Yeah, we share the similar story. Laverne had mentioned it when we were on the podcast that her son was born at 28 weeks, and that was the same time frame that Jordan was born at 28 weeks as well. And so I was like, wow, like, and we also I always tease her because my name is Lavine, but my grandma called me Laverne my entire like while she was living the entire time. And so I was teasing her because every time I say her name, it just brings back memories of my grandma calling me Laverne. So, but yes, but Laverne has a family child care center, and she's an advocate for family child care centers and educators. And Laverne knows my aunt and uncle. Yes, so that's how we met, Laverne. And so I believe everyone went for that question. So the next one, I know you guys gave like a snippet of what your chapter is about. So this is a two-part question. So again, what was your chapter about, and what emotions did you feel when you wrote your chapter? So it's a two-parter. So I know you briefly went over it, so you can just go over like a detail of what the chapter is about again, and then what emotions did you feel when you were writing this chapter? So Jenny, you can go first.
Like I said before, it was about that aggression that was experienced during the escalations, but also the isolation, because one of our boys, around the age of, I think, 12 or 13, didn't like us having friends in our homes. Yeah, until they left home at the age of 21, we couldn't have friends over. I think the emotions were, it was very scary to write about that. It's something that I haven't, it's not something you talk about openly. And I think a lot of embarrassment and shame around that as well. And I think the fear of being judged by other parents as well, maybe sort of bringing in that negative side of things, because I know we all sort of want to be strong and don't want to talk about things that are negative, but I feel it's very brushed under the carpet, and families do need support around that. So there were a lot of emotions about writing it. And even when you and Marissa contacted me and said it was done, I was like, I think I've written the wrong thing. I can't, there's no way. But I read through it and I thought, no, I do want to say that. And I think a little pit in my head was, oh, look, it'll be mainly people in the States that read it. People in Australia won't have to read it. So I was able to hide. So, yeah, a lot of emotions, but thank you for the opportunity to do it.
You're welcome. And I know we're doing an anthology version. I mean, Australia, I say anthology, Australia version of the book. So, ladies, y'all stories gonna be in Australia too. I just want to let y'all know.
Well,
Yes, we're going to be, yes, because we're launching in Dominican Republic, if I didn't mention that. So, yes, we're going to be an international bestseller. So, I'm excited for you. And I thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your journey, because just working in the field, I know it has been a lot of parents who like have scratches on them and they're walking around with sunglasses, and people sometimes are thinking that they're in a domestic violence I mean, it is in some sort, but it's not their partner that's hurting them. Is their child, and it's just the aggression. And you want to love on your child and be able to be there for them, but also is part of the journey. And so I thank you for sharing that part and being open, because you're definitely going to bless somebody with your story. Evelyn, awesome. I love that for you, because she definitely was nervous in the beginning, and I shared with them when we had our very first meeting what my mentor shared with me when I did my first anthology. Your story is your story. And then she also told us that it was going to be therapeutic. And so I shared those two things with them in the beginning. And it definitely, when you feel those emotions and then you put it on in words on paper, or whether you're typing, like just to see it, it's like, wow, like I really went through this. But as our tagline is, like, we're not only surviving, but we're thriving. So to watch yourself go from the beginning to now, and to see that whole entire journey and that whole entire picture, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you, and thank you for saying yes. Laverne, you able to unmute?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No problem. So it's a two-part question. What is your chapter about? And I know you gave a snippet of it earlier. And then what emotions did you feel when you was writing your chapter?
So again, my chapter kind of goes in, it's telling the story about how my son, he was misdiagnosed, or not misdiagnosed, but underdiagnosed. And as a result, there were symptoms and stuff of what he should have been diagnosed with, from depression to post-traumatic stress, just all kinds of different diagnoses he had, except for the one he needed support in. And as a result, and him becoming older, outside of the problems and stuff we had with him growing up with those things, when he got older, his way of coping was through recreational drugs. So that is my story. And I basically just talk about how we both, how we went through that together. Me being a mom, him being the son, how we have learned to overcome that and go through that process every day, because it's not over. It is an everyday battle. But to encourage moms again, that you may be going through something, you definitely will feel isolated and stuff like that. But you continue to speak life. I'm a faith-based, so I believe in praying. I believe in trusting God, and I believe in speaking life over my sons and manifesting what God called them to be, regardless of what may be happening in the moment. And so that's what my story talked about. And while I was writing it, I was actually fine. I just wrote my story, but I didn't feel the emotions until we got the draft back and I read it with him. So he got to hear what I wrote. And that is when I started crying about it. I was just like, wow, I didn't know I was going to feel that way, because I was fine writing it. And so yeah, it was something to write, because we've gone through a lot, and to see where we are now, from where we were, is nothing but God. So that's where it's a lot of gratefulness, it's a lot of emotions, mixed emotions and stuff. But I'm glad to be a part of this. I'm very glad I was able to be a part of this.
Yes, I'm glad Laverne said yes. She did email me the day that her and her son read their draft. And so that made me cry. I was at work actually. And I was like, "Oh wow," when I saw her email. And then, just I think it hit me more because it was like my obedience was allowing you guys to share what you needed to share and to experience what you needed to experience with sharing your story in the anthology. So reading everyone's chapter, but like because I like I said, I know a few of you in the city, some of you've been on my podcast, and so to hear a different version of your story and your journey, that was just like wow. It made me emotional. Put it that way. It made me emotional. Sakina?
Yes. So I actually, my story takes the readers on a journey from when I actually found out I was pregnant, the emotions I went through, to then noticing the signs, like the signs that a lot of parents ignore in the beginning of their children either having some type of delay or a diagnosis. So my point was to let parents know, like, when you start seeing that, okay, my child is not hitting those milestones, right? They're not, and granted, they were 4 weeks early, but it was still like there were still certain milestones they should have been hitting. Now, as a previous therapist who used to work with children on the spectrum, I knew the signs to look for. And so I really wanted to let parents know, like, if your child isn't hitting those milestones, or you notice, like, oh, they were talking and then they stopped talking, or they used to, make good eye contact and now they're not looking, or even the stemming. So I just take the readers on a journey from early intervention days, just because I feel like that's the most crucial time when your child needs the most help when they're being diagnosed with autism. That early intervention is really big, and it's a crucial time for the child, but it's also the time where most parents overlook it or really in denial about their child having some type of delay. So just letting them know, like, it's okay. It's okay, and that the resources and the help is there as long as you're willing to go and get the help and the resources. And again, like I mentioned earlier, advocating for my children. The doctor actually, I told the doctor they were getting early intervention. So for me, it's like making sure you're understanding your children, you're knowing what they're going through. Like, I was just like, no, doc, this something's off. Like, both of them, like, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, it just looks too familiar from some of my other clients. So just advocating for them as being even small babies to be like, no, they should have hit this milestone by now. Whether it's going to be a delay or whether it's going to be a diagnosis, we need to jump on this. And of course the doctor just like, okay, if that's what if you want to do that, that's fine. So just telling my story from the early intervention aspect. And honestly, my emotions, I think I'm a little bit like Laverne. Like I was okay. And then when I got the manuscript to approve it, oh, I bawled. I bawled like a baby. It was just like, and then Marissa's like, oh, let me know if you approve or not approve. I'm like, all right, let me get my eyes together. Let me get my tears together. Let me make sure everything's spelt right. But it was just so many emotions at one time because I'm like, wow, like, I just kept thinking, like, what if I wasn't that parent that was paying that much attention to my children? Like the things could have went so different for them. So it gave me an opportunity to give myself flowers, which I don't typically do, and be like, okay, like you really do care and advocate for your children. You really do have that unconditional love to where you really want to see them prosper and be all the odds that they say nonverbal children, which by the way, my children talk sometimes now. So that nonverbal diagnosis, is really something that hits you where you think nonverbal. So my child I'm never going to be able to hear them speak. I'm never going to be able to hear them say mom or dad. And now they say stuff. So it's just giving that, faith to people. Like it can really, really happen for you too. You just got to stick it out and stay in there.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it. I'm actually
You're
working
welcome.
with a father now, and that's his one wish is he's like, I just want to hear my son say hi, dad. So definitely that, hearing their voice for the first time, and hearing the you talked about early intervention, and that's how I wound up in special education in general. Always wanted to be a teacher, but until my son was born, I didn't know anything about early intervention, let alone becoming a special instructor for. I think that's the longest job I ever had was 14 years. And normally I'll teach somewhere and be like, I think I want to go somewhere else. But that I stuck with it. I loved going to the houses and meeting the families and just watching the kids. And it was sort of like I don't want to say I was trying to make the doctors be like, they don't know what they talking about, but pretty much that was my goal. Like if this child, they gonna say that this child not gonna be able to walk. My goal is to make sure before I leave this house, this child take at least 3-4 steps. And so when I would go into the homes, hearing what the family's goal was and what they wanted for their child, that was my mission. I follow a few of the families follow me on social media, and one of them, she be like, I know I told you I wanted him to talk, but now he talked too much. Like I was like, well, I did my job. Like that's all I could possibly do for both of you. Like y'all gonna have to talk about, some boundaries of when he can talk, but I did my job. But just sharing that early intervention is key. It's important. My son started early intervention at 6 weeks. 6 months. When he came home from the NICU, they were like, he's going to need early intervention. And I was like, okay. But like Sakina was talking about earlier, like the occupational therapist, the physical therapist, the special instructor, like all them people coming into your house all different times. You gotta be home for all of them. Like he literally had somebody there every day of the week. And because some of them was coming twice a week. And so just building that rapport with them. And they were the ones that told me to go into early intervention. They was like, you teaching him the skills, and by the time we come back, he already know. And I'm like, well, that's what y'all told me to do, right? And it's like, yeah, most parents don't do that. And so they were the ones that kind of pushed me into early intervention and special education. And to be honest, I love what I do. I think I finally walked into my destiny. So I always tell my son that he's the reason why I'm in the field that I'm in. Like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher, but just didn't know that it would be in special education. So I love it. Every day I love it. I love pushing the kids. I love advocating for the families. So it's definitely close to my heart when I say that I'm working with the family, or, I'm helping them find resources or motivating them to advocate for their child, so that not only does their child have a voice, but they can be a voice for their child. if their child is voiceless, but they're communicating, but just in a different way. And so our final question is, how would you encourage another mother to be a part of the next anthology? And I didn't know there was going to be another anthology, but my coworker was like, so is there going to be a part two? And I was like, we got to get part one out first. And she was like, no, because I think y'all should do a part two. And so she kind of put it out there in the atmosphere. So what would you say to another mother when she's hesitant, she's scared, she's nervous, she never done a book before, um, and you kind of coaching her into being a part of the anthology? Give me 1 minute saying I lost. And okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
You froze for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's what because it was sending me a message saying that I had lost internet connection. So the question is, how would you encourage another mother to be a part of the next anthology?
Well, first of all, I'm freaking out that there's a next one and thinking about what I need to do. So I'll put that aside. I think I would just tell them that it was a really good experience for me. It was an opportunity for me to express, some of the emotions that I had around the boys, but also it felt really good to know that I was helping other mums. And okay, my early childhood career and in my career in my business working with families and early childhood educators around disability, I'm constantly advocating. And probably in every conversation really I have about our boys, I'm always advocating. And that is really important to me because you don't understand a situation until you're in that situation. So I think any stories that we can share means that people will understand. And there is just so much more advocacy and awareness around autism, disability, inclusion these days. But I'll hear a story of where, maybe a child's been suspended from school or a family has been discriminated against in the community. And I realise that, we're not in a perfect world. There's still a long way to go. So I think anybody that contributes to that anthology would be helping to participate, I guess, make that perfect world that we'd all like for our children. So that's why I would encourage them to be part of the next anthology.
Yeah, so I would basically tell them that your story can change a life. Your story is necessary. Oftentimes we feel like people don't want to hear what we have to say and that it's not going to make a difference, but that is so far from the truth. And that you're the expert on your child. So you could really touch the lives of so many people who could be going through the same things that you're going through. And that telling your story, I mean, I feel like it's just necessary. Like, I know I wrote in my chapter, like, I kept asking God, why me? Why me? And to the point where God just said, okay, why not you? So it's like just getting that question answered. Why not you? Evidently, he gave you these children or this child for a reason. He gives his toughest assignments to his strongest people. So I would say to tell your story and to just change a life and help other people.
Thank you. Laverne, you able to answer?
Yeah. For me, telling a story is like a personal therapy. So, yes, you can encourage and, give a message to other mothers and caregivers about what you're going through in your story, but how it can help you and how it can support you to be able to release that and find the transparency in it versus the shame and the guilt and embarrassment. But just being able to find the transparency in it and being open to how it can even open doors for you to be supported in ways that you may not be getting supported in as well.
Thank y'all for that. I know Evelyn had another engagement, so she had to go. So first, like I said before, I just want to thank everyone for saying yes and sharing their journey with since we said we're going international with the world, and everyone brought like a different part of their journey. And so I think this is going to definitely touch many lives, whether it's the mother, whether it's the child. It's just going to be able to offer so much more for the family. And then as well as like, I mean, all of us know like we're taping this around Mother's Day, and just, some days we just feel like we're surviving. Like we're just like, hey, like I'm just making it day by day. I'm just, I'll be glad to. Oh, my son just came in. He just gave me flowers. Thank you, son. Yeah, she's upstairs. Thank you. Um, so just being able to share your story and tell the world that you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Like I said earlier, all of us have taken the time to not just think of ourselves and our family, but to think of others and how we can encourage them, motivate them, advocate for them, and just being there for them in different environments. Whether it's just, sitting down with a friend, with another autism mom or a mother. Both of my children are diagnosed with ADHD. And so just, sitting down with them, just having somebody to have a listening ear and an understanding listening ear, because some people don't know, what we go through behind closed doors. And so just being able to encourage them and give them the motivation that they need to keep going so that they can thrive. Like I said earlier, just watching your words go from the beginning to now, and seeing how you overcame some challenges, and how, in the midst of, having all the therapists come to your house, how you're like, I can't do this no more, but you did it. And then now here you are at this point in time with, your child. And so just watching them thrive as well. So it's not just, the mother thriving, the moms thrive on, but you're watching your whole family thrive with what you're able to give to your family. So again, I thank each and every one of you, from Sakina, Laverne, Jenny, Marjorie, and Evelyn, for saying yes to this project. And we were going to toast, but I know everybody doing different things, and we don't have everybody here. I just want to say that Moms Thrive On is going to be an international bestseller. So I'm saying it now before the world even knows it. And so I'm excited. I'm encouraging you all to share your story, and then and until the next time, my quote for today is, be blessed and don't just survive, but thrive. And so thank you all for being a part of this episode of the Moms Thrive On Anthology launch. And until next time, peace and blessings.